So, let's talk about how to fix all the things wrong with this figure, because this figure is definitely worth fixing. Before I bought this oversized KFC Superion, I thought, what are all the pros and cons? How much work, how many weeks of hard labor am I going to have to put into getting this thing fixed up right? What are the complaints? What are the shortcuts they took? What are all the issues? Is it worth fixing? Is the price worth it? So I researched all that, and the most common problems I found with this are no head doesn't go up and down. You have to take the shoulders off, put them back on to rotate them because they simplified the joints here. What was the other big problem? The knees, there was like one click at the knee, so that really ruined posability. Those were the big major ones. So let's talk about how to fix those quickly. So basically, for this medical procedure, you need a PhD license. You need one of these. This is the attachment you will need. A Dremel with that attachment. These are like $5 for a box of these sanding tips, so those are cheap and easy to get. You will need a trip to CVS Pharmacy will earn you one of these. This is going to come in handy for the finishing touches. And last but not least, get yourself a Husky knife with the X-Acto knife blades. This is going to come in really handy and speed up your work once you get the initial sanding down. Okay, let's move on and talk about how to give this guy a facelift. All right. Okay, so step number 1, delimb your Superion. He won't mind because he's getting proper joints this time around. Okay, so here's what we got. As you can see, there's been some weird stuff done to him. He's been violated. The first thing you need to do, this used to be an octagonal post. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, or not an octagon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 sides. So there's 6 points. What you do is you round each point. So you get your trusty Dremel here, and what you want to do is you just want to gently turn your speed up, down low. If you have an adjustable speed Dremel, which is probably the best, crank it down. This one goes, This one goes up to like 7. Crank it down halfway to like 3 or 4 or 5, somewhere around there. And don't sand a lot in one space. Sand one corner and then move to the next corner. And don't do a lot, just do a little bit at a time. You can always do more later. So Dremel more, and then go to each point. There's 6 corners, or 6 right angles, I guess you could say. What you want to do is you want to keep, what you want to do is you want to keep all the sides flat, but you want to round the corners. That way, the socket, see how the socket has 6 flat sides? What you want the flat sides to do is you want the flat sides to rotate past the corners, because now the corners have been sanded off. You want the flat sides to rotate past the corner and then lock on to the flat side. Rotate past the corner, lock onto the flat side. And that's how you can get that ratcheting motion. And you Dremel each side a little bit, stick it back on. And if it won't turn, if it's still stuck, take it off, Dremel a little more. So then you Dremel each corner just a little bit, and make sure you Dremel all the way down to the base, because you don't want it to get halfway on and then have it be thicker at the base than at the tip. So make sure you do evenly, and just keep going a little bit at a time till it'll spin without a lot of force. If you sand it too much, it'll just spin and not lock into place after it moves. So you can sand it a little bit and then come back with the knife, and what I did is I just go to each corner and just take a little chunk off around each corner. And make sure you clean the base really good so the base is just as flat as the tip here. Because you don't want it to go halfway down, like I said, and then have it. If it's thicker here, it'll actually push it off. So if you want it to stay on really good, what you could do is at the very, very base, make it a little smaller. Make it a little smaller around at the base than at the top. That way it'll lock on, and it'll be harder to pull off than to push on. That'll help keep it on. And then what I did was, these are hollow. These posts here, they're hollow. So what you do is you take some Otey, O-A-T-E-Y, epoxy putty. It comes in a big white tube. You mold it in your hands, and 2 minutes later it's granite. You get some Otey epoxy putty. I've tried other brands, but Otey is the best. And Otey leaves the least amount of grime on your hands. And it's not greasy. I hate that greasy putty where you use it and then everything you touch has like grease all over it. So use Otey. This works the best. What you do is you mix up some of that, and you keep shoving it in there, shoving it in there, shoving it in there where it's a hollow. And then you let that harden, and then you come back and you sand that. That way there's no blank spots, because when it's hollow, there's places in the post where plastic isn't touching plastic because they were cheap and made it hollow. So now that I've filled in the post, it actually makes it stronger too, and there's more surface that's grabbing the socket. So, and that's how we did that. Let's see how it turned out. Okay, so let's check out this rotation here. So, see how it moved and stayed into place? Because now we got a flat side touching a flat side. Do it again. We went around the corner, and now a flat side's touching a flat side. We can go down. It's really sturdy too. It won't move. We go all the way down, which he's going to hit this. Like that. And so we have a flat side touching a flat side. So make sure you round the corners enough to where it'll turn smoothly with minor effort, but will lock in place once the flat sides touch again. So you should get 6 stops. Turn, stop, 6 times all the way around. Okay, and that's how you do the shoulders. All right, now let's talk about the knee joints. When you get this thing and you put it out, you pull it out of the box, and you're super pumped to see the super huge Superion mode. All that hard work and all that waiting from shipping from China just to find out he's got no damn knee joints. And a figure this big that can't pose is really, really annoying, because you want something like this to look awesome and not just stand there like one of those wooden nutcracker toys. So what you do is right here. This used to be square. This used to be perfectly square. So you take your Dremel and you just Dremel off the corner. You don't need to Dremel off a lot, just a little bit. What you want to do is see where the screw hole is. See that little bump? You want to make this, you want to grind it so it's even with that little bump where the screw hole is. Just make it one flat little angle there. See how I did that? I just kept dremeling it till this was all like one line. And once you Dremel that off, it gives you this effect. We got as much articulation as we can possibly want. That's pretty much a right angle. So we got 4 clicks. We got 4 clicks instead of 1. That's pretty damn good. You have to do both sides. So when you do the other side, do the same thing. Find the bump where the screw hole is, and then just grind this off till it's pretty much smooth with that bump, just like that. And then what you do, let me get my knife and show you. What you do here is once you grind that off, take your knife and just push real hard straight down to the black leg there, and that'll even it up. That'll take all the junk and all the crap hanging out, and it'll make it a perfectly straight line. So just take your knife and just keep doing that until you get all... There's actually a little piece of crap there I need to cut off. See that? I'm going to actually cut that just a little bit more so that's not visible. But when you transform them, this guard's going to be down anyway. You're not even going to see it. because that guard is there, so pretty sweet. And so that's what you do with that. Oh, let's go over the head articulation now. Okay, so for the head, what you're gonna do, get a really skinny screwdriver, something of that, and you're just gonna undo that screw, pop the back of this horribly ugly see-through yellow. Why the hell did they do a see-through yellow backside of his head? It's just hideous. I'm gonna paint this black. So what we're gonna do to get head articulation is, and I know I claim to be an expert on these matters, so consult your physician. We dremeled some of it. I'm gonna go get my Dremel. We took Dremel and we just dremeled a little bit there. So right about there, we just ran the Dremel across, and then here we hollowed it out a little bit. And this, I'm not saying you have to do this, I just did this for strength. I took a Lego and I grinded it and I sanded it with the Dremel and shoved it in there and glued it just for extra strength. And now we're going to fill it with putty. And then we're going to sand it smooth and paint this black, because this is just hideous. Look at this. I love how they cut more corners. This is more corner cutting 101. It's the same mold as the front of the head as the back of the head. Pretty sweet. Alright, so we're going to take, this is what it comes in. Take some of this good stuff. You want equal parts gray, equal parts white. You don't want one more than the other. Make sure you have equal of each. And here's how we do it. Never in the history of the world has this epoxy putty been kneaded and applied in real time on camera. So you make a snake, and then you make a ball. Ball complete. Repeat process. Snake, ball. Okay? We're going to do that until it gets really hot. You'll feel it. It'll get really hot, and that's when you want to start applying it. You'll know because it'll be hot and it'll all be one color. Right now it's just a swirl of chemical nonsense. So we're going to keep going. Starting to get a little warm. We want it to be a little hotter. Ball. Snake. And snake again. And ball. And snake. Okay, it's starting to feel hot. Let's do it. And that's about all the mess you get on your hands. It comes off easy. Okay, so we're going to take a piece and work fast. You only got a couple minutes. Take this bad boy, and we're just going to shove it in here. We're flatten it a little bit, right? We're going to put some there. And you're not going to see it anyway because it's going to be painted black, which is going to look a hell of a lot better than the see-through puke yellow. So we got that gap there we need to fix. So we shove some in there, right? We're going to shove some in there. And what we're going to do now is we're going to sculpt it. And we're just going to keep shoving it in there till it fills every single crevice. And then we'll come back after it hardens and we'll sand the heck out of it until it looks perfect. You won't even be able to tell. Okay, so we got that. We'll come back and we'll sand it. And then we'll put it all back together. Make sure when you put the putty in, where'd my knife go? Make sure you don't have any putty overrun into the hole, because then the head's not going to go all the way in together. There'll be a gap down the side of your head. So make sure this area is completely clear of any debris, of any putty, so the parts can lock together. I think that's probably about all we need to do there. And notice how I got some putty in this hole here. We're going to get that out, because we don't want to fill in that hole, because that's where the head goes in. So we want to make sure that these holes are clear. Let me see if I got a paper clip. Oh, here's some wire. Good. Oh, here we go. Actually, here's something better. Okay, so I got a drill bit here. And we're just gonna... I'm just gonna spin that. Get all that crud out of there. Right? Because we want all this to lock together nicely. Okay, so we got ideal painting conditions here. It's 50 degrees, and it's raining out, it's wet, it's gross and slimy and moldy and cold. Nothing's gonna stick to anything. Perfect time to paint. Okay, so I got these taped off. Before we squirt this guy, let's just go over this again. Right where you see the gray putty, we dremeled all that out till it looked just like that. What is that? Half an inch below the screw hole. And I did it kind of it's not flat across, there's a dip in the middle there, you can see. It's kind of, because I pressed harder here with the Dremel and then lighter here, so it made a curve. That's going to make his head tilt back more. So that's done. And now we're going to squirt it. Hopefully without painting my cat black. Wait a few seconds. Wait a few seconds. We need to get it. There's yellow, a little bit of yellow showing still inside there. Okay. Did we miss anything? Let's flip it. Did we miss anything over here? Look, we missed a little bit on the top. Right there. So we need to squirt that. Okay, and we're going to wait a minute. I think we're about done. Let's look at the bottom again, make sure we got the bottom good. Oh, I see a little bit of yellow right there. We got to get that. Okay. Let's flip it. Looks good. All right. We're just going to let that sit. Okay, so here is the final result of head plastic surgery. So now, here is what we got. We got up. You can look up to the side. I can't help it, but if you take away these antennas, you have G1 Starscream. Maybe this could be a Starscream combiner with a little bit of work. I don't know. But there you go. So, and turn it to the side. Can't even tell. Looks factory. So the whole idea with this is not to repaint the whole damn thing. Because then if I repaint this whole thing, which would probably take a month, then my Devastator is going to look really out of place. Because he has 0 paint apps, period. So if I painted this, people are going to say, hey, what the hell? Why didn't you paint Devastator? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch this one up and touch this one up. Because they can look really good with just some touch-ups. They don't need to repaint the whole thing. And the white, I mean, white's a pain in the butt to work with. If it's already white and it's that glossy, I'm really not going to bother to re-gloss it with paint and have it chip off and cake and get all fingerprinty and be a pain in the ass. Anyway, so that's pretty good. That worked out really well. And as far as touch-ups, one thing I wanted to show you is here's touched up and then not touched up. Detail. 0 friggin' detail. It's all there, it just needs to be shown up. So here is wrong arm guy. This is supposed to be an F4 Phantom, but they got lazy and cut corners. But anyway, here's what it could look like with just a little bit of detailing. And I think that looks a hell of a lot better. Just imagine you're in space and all the sweet black lines you'd see if it flew by. And if you grab this dude, Harrier jet, I think what I'm going to do is I don't like this dry brushed silver. I'm going to redo that chest piece, which is the shoulder joint for Superion. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to chrome it. These legs too. I just can't stand how that's bright silvery chrome and then that's just dry brushed whatever and then chrome. I think that should be chrome. So it'll match all the rest of the nice silver on the figure. But I redid some of the red. Painted, the hips needed some attention for paint. And so that's it. That's all I'm going to do. And when I do that to all of them, it's going to look really nice. All right, we'll see you next project. Or we'll see you on the next installment of this project. And boy, is he going to get one hell of a plastic surgery bill when this is all done.